SkillsUSA Arizona, let's hear it. Have a seat. Thank you guys so much for being here. I have been to camp probably 7 or 8 times and I've never seen this many people in the room, so give yourselves a hand. So today we're talking about a couple things. We're talking about how to live the fairy tale life, right? This whole thing about the camp is Disney. And so over the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you guys a couple stories I've been through and how they relate for you guys and how to actually use this camp, whether you're a freshman or a senior. Seniors, raise your hands. Juniors? Sophomores. Freshmen. Cool. So, regardless of where you're at in that spectrum, maybe you're a 5th year senior, maybe 6th, you're going to walk away with some valuable tips for how to actually engage with this organization and hopefully be ahead of everyone who's back at school and the rest of the workforce. As I was thinking through last night what today was going to look like and further planning it out, I was on Twitter, scrolling around as I normally do in the wee hours, and I started thinking about how the news and how most outlets, media outlets, really don't show today's the day in the life as being a fairy tale. Can anyone relate? Doesn't it kind of look bad out there? Like, we don't know what politician to trust, we don't know what events are going on, places are on fire, hurricanes going on, the economy's changing, AI is coming, right? Like, none of the jobs that we've had before, all the ones our parents have had at this point, they are all completely either changed or are changing. So, for me to be up here and talk about living the fairy tale life is a little ironic. But what we're going to talk about is 3 different concepts for what you guys can do to live the fairy tale life, both right now and then after school as well. And I want to start by first talking about the theme of this camp, which is Disney. Raise your hand if you've seen a Disney movie in here. So raise your hand if you have seen a movie from Marvel. What about from Universal? What about from Interscope or from Motion Pictures? It's less, right? If you watch a Disney movie, what are you going to get? You're going to get some sort of fairy tale, right? You're going to get basically the same story told with different characters. You know you're not going to get a super sad movie, although you're going to get some emotions. But you're typically going to end on a high note with the movie, right? Of all of the other motion picture places, you don't get that. You go to watch any other movie from any other place, you just don't know what the theme is going to be. But if mom and dad, or you tell your little brother or sister, or you talk to a cousin or a kid, you say, we're going to go see a Disney movie, they know exactly what to expect. And Walt Disney was an absolute genius for that. Has anybody here ever studied Walt Disney at all, or like looked into Walt Disney? So I implore you to take some time after this camp and to check out Walt Disney and his thought process. Because he made not only a cartoon studio that pumps out emotion and that pumps out energy that people die for, right? That people become lifelong fans for. And on top of that, he created a place for people to go to live inside of that. And no other person has been ever to really recreate that besides like Steve Jobs maybe, but that's in a completely different way. And with Apple, you know what you're getting. And why I'm telling you this is because of the importance of storytelling. When I was a senior, when I was graduating from this program, I thought storytelling was, cat in the hat. Or I thought storytelling was rabbit in the hair, right? Tortoise in the hair. Rabbit, and there's 2 rabbits. Tortoise in the hair. So I thought storytelling, like fairy tales, right? Who here has written a resume? Your resume is really just your story. So if you have a resume, or if you have a social media account, you have anything in your bio, that is telling your story to the world. The thing about storytelling is most people don't know their own stories. Or they're sold on a different story than what's actually going on. And sometimes that can be fine as well. There's like some strategy in shaping who you want to be as a person, making yourself believe something so you have that confidence to meet that expectation. But every single one of you, as you interact with your advisors, other students, and future employers, potential employers, or current employers, they are understanding your story from before you come in that door because of that resume or your social media profiles or whatever else they can find online about you. Raise your hand if you have a job right now. So raise your hand if you're in the market for a job or you're looking for a job. So I want you guys who are after this camp especially to look at the positions that places are hiring for and not hiring for. Because there's this huge wave coming. You guys grew up at a time where the internet was just standard, right? I pretty much did for the most part. We had dial-up back in the day. I remember a time when my family got our first computer. Like, that was kind of a big deal. Now we just, our computers, 7-year-olds have them, right? And they're in our pockets, or they're on our wrist with our watch. Things change so quickly, but they haven't changed drastically in a long time. And this is so important for you guys to know. For instance, my grandparents and my great-grandparents went through the Great Depression. You guys all went through the Great Recession, right? You guys all recall that? I was a senior in high school, and my parents lost their home. My whole neighborhood was for sale. That was a story across America. Regardless of it, your story, either the one you're telling yourself in your head or the one that you are creating and portraying to the workforce, is drastically important because of how different it's going to be. Right now, the number one job for young males, anyone know what the number one job for young males across America is as a whole? It's driving. And that industry is about to get flipped completely on its ear. Why is that? We thought that Uber and Lyft were going to be that ride-sharing revolution, which it came, and it has changed the way transportation works. But the number one job for young males that's available right now is driving, and we will not need young males or humans to do that driving anymore in the next 10 years, and probably sooner. Every job that any one of us is wanting in this room will be completely different when you guys either enter the workforce or after you've been in for a few years. Because the intelligence, the technology is so smart now that it's making itself, and it's making itself faster than we ever could. It's starting to figure out what's best for us. It's starting to figure out calculations and running them. It's starting to build its own programs. It's going to figure out that a program is needed and not ask the human to make the program. It's going to make the program and start running it, all before we even have a chance to check on it. The reason I tell you all this is because you guys are legitimately the future. If there's a group of younger kids in here, I'd be kind of telling them a more watered-down version of this or a softer version of this because they need to hear it. The technology is going to be your competition. Look to your left and right now. These are the people you're in it with, not your competition. When I was entering the workforce, I was competing against a lot of other people, and I was your guys' age, and I was competing against people who were 40, 50, and 60, lost their job and are experiencing recession, have families to go home and take care of. But I was the person getting the job and the promotions. And that can be the truth for you guys here as well. But you guys have to know, like Walt Disney did, the importance of storytelling. Because if you can leave whoever you're talking with a feeling or emotion of who you are or what you stand for, you will be the person they remember. And the person they remember is the one that gets the opportunities, that when the transitions happen with this artificial intelligence or AI, we might end up just calling it the internet, because the internet is kind of like an all-encompassing word. But the internet will end up wiping out a lot of the jobs that we see now. There will be a time in the next 10 years we go into a grocery store, into Whole Foods, and there will not be people working there. There will be one person saying hello and bye to you to keep the human element. All of the rest will be automated, from the delivering of the products to the selling of it. And this is already the case. So it's interesting that I'm up here talking about out of the fairy tale life, right? When the world right now is not so much of a fairy tale. So thing number one that I want for you guys to be thinking about is storytelling. What is the story you're telling yourself in your dialogue inside? That needs to be a healthy one as well. But what's the one that you're portraying? Storytelling. Everybody say storytelling with me one time. Storytelling. Awesome. If you're here with me right now, say I'm here. I'm here. Awesome, awesome. So as you guys heard in my intro, when I got into SkillsUSA, I was overweight. I literally showed up to the meeting because there was pizza. I went to the next meeting because there was more pizza. And little did I know, it ended up turning into a SkillsUSA meeting and a SkillsUSA chapter that was meeting. And from that moment and working through high school, and I had a lot of troubles academically. Anyone relate to that? Maybe they don't feel that academic or school is kind of hard. I struggled in it from after 6th grade, essentially. After I left elementary school, school was really tough for me. I just did not fit the mold. But when I found SkillsUSA, I fell back in love with school. Because I had a way to brand myself differently than everybody else at school as well. I was the first national officer from my school ever, maybe since like the 80s at an FFA one. And the reason why I got the opportunities, the reason why teachers spent more time with me to help me even when I was struggling and not doing well academically, and why I got the job afterwards, whether it was my first interview when I got hired at Target, or it was my first interview when I got hired on the spot at Apple, both of those came from the feeling that I left the people who were interviewing me, the people who were empowered. And what's awesome about today's day and age is that the people who are empowered, they're no longer the gatekeepers. Your parents looked up to the gatekeepers at one point in time. It was only the big motion picture studios and the news outlets that held the keys for everything. And these days we can unlock our phone and we can share a thought with a message and the world can potentially hear it. So you have to craft that story. You have to set yourself apart, which takes me into the next part here, which is personal branding. Personal branding is what we are all doing unconsciously, without knowing it, that if we just focus on it for a little bit longer, we will have the sort of colleges we're wanting asking for us to go to their school. We'll have the jobs that are not available to anybody else, and we create an opportunity and a pathway for ourselves that's unlike anything else. Because I would be lying through my teeth if I told you that there is now a straight and narrow path towards the field that you want to be in. Who here has plans to go to college? Awesome. Who here completely does not intend to go to college? I can relate with that group. I was somebody who did not, like I said, I just never considered college. It was a conversation, but I never considered it. And I felt very out of place, and I felt like I didn't fit in. And what I was able to do in times where most people would be looking at a college diploma or a resume full with industry-specific work is they would shut the folder and just want to talk and hear from me because of the experiences I got in SkillsUSA. It was simply me talking about being at leadership camp, bunking with some strangers. Anyone meet your bunkmates yet or your roommates yet? Kind of weird, right? Like you have people back in school, they're just sleeping in their own beds. You get to sleep around a bunch of strangers, right? But it was those stories, or me talking about running for a class office or a chapter office, where the interview questions stopped. And a little tip, if you're ever getting interviewed, the person who's asking the questions is the one in control. So what should you do when you walk in there? Ask the questions. Interview them. You guys all have far too much talent in here to be held and talked to like the rest of the world. And so when you treat yourself like that, and you carry yourself about like that, you will have people who treat you like that and offer those sort of opportunities. So I joined SkillsUSA, worked at Apple, and I left and I started my own business because I learned this concept of personal branding. And it's literally what I get to do all day. I get to build my own brand. I'll talk about what that looks like here in a second, what personal branding is. And I get to help others, whether it's a business or an individual who wants to take their life to the next level. And when I started looking into personal branding, what I realized is that I don't have to go and sign a deal to be a public speaker or to put out videos online like most people had to do back in the day. I can just every single day show up and put out a piece of content or a piece of a video, an audio, or a blog. Anyone listen to podcasts in here? Who here watches YouTube? Exactly. So like everybody, right? Whether you know it or not, right? Like even our parents, whether they know it or not, they're on YouTube. And we are living in a time and place where the social media platforms that all of us have, whether it's like Snapchat or Instagram or LinkedIn or MySpace. Anyone remember MySpace? No? Yeah, you do? All right. We have all these platforms where we can go and get attention and where we can find and share a message. Who here has a story or something that's happened in their life before that they know could help others if they were able to share it? I'm from the belief that we all do. It's whether or not we have uncovered it and whether or not we believe the story or what we believe of the story. But every single person here has something, some story, some experience, or you're on a journey right now that makes you relatable to the entire world. And so if you deep down feel, or in the future after listening to this, feel that you have a message, or if you have something to share with the world, now is the time to do it, and it may not be always. There's federal regulations going on to the internet now. The internet is now a little bit older than you guys. It's 21 years old. So we're still figuring this whole thing out. So in the future, you may have to pay more than just Cox or more than AT&T or whoever you're paying for your internet to get it. You may have to pay per minute that you're on there. You may have to pay to consume stuff. You may have to pay to post stuff. But right now, it's free. And I wish I understood that, and I wish those platforms are around how they are when I was in your guys' position, because I would be so much further ahead. The reason I am so adamant about you guys finding your message and finding a way to share your journey online is because this can set you apart to have opportunities come your way that you could never believe and that I could never make up. It could be the fact that maybe you put a video online because you like to braid hair. Anyone, girls in here, guys who, any follow like beauty channels on YouTube, those are really, really big. People do, exactly, right? People do hair, makeup, or those sort of things. They have a purpose to help other people through this. And all they do is film themselves doing it and put it up to the world. And that helps people to feel better about themselves who've never lived in a time like that. For that person to bring up that experience. Anyone in cosmetology here? Any cosmetology students here? Awesome. For those people, not only do you have something where people can come and find you, but you will have brands approaching you, you'll have other businesses approaching you to be their spokesperson. They'll be wanting to send you free stuff. They'll be wanting to bring you out to talk at their events and giving you the opportunity. So if you want to set yourself apart, which is going to be the key over the next 10 years of being inside of the workforce, for not only getting a job, but what happens once you get a job? You got to keep it, right? Why relationships, interactions with humans fail so much is because we get the thing, we start dating the person, and then we stop dating the person once we have it. We get the job, and we stop working for it once we have it. We start the business, and we get that accolade, we can update our LinkedIn profile, we can tell our family and friends, but that's just the beginning. And so if you can find a way to capitalize on this state of the world right now, which I'll be honest, you guys could probably teach me more about social media, the internet, and technology than I currently know, because you guys it's just normal to you. It's just a part of everything that you guys do. You've never known anything different. I have to keep up with you guys. So if you can think about ways to tell your story and to leverage these platforms online to share that, before you need the job, before you need the money from the business, before you need the opportunity, you can set yourself apart to have an abundance of it. And when I say abundance, I mean never-ending opportunity where you get to say no to people instead of being the one that has to accept whatever jobs are left. So again, storytelling. What's a story? How are we portraying it with personal branding, and how are we setting ourselves apart? I can tell you right now that SkillsUSA is a part of my personal brand. Everywhere I go, when I'm shaking hands, when I'm meeting people, when I'm out in the world, I'm thinking through my experiences at SkillsUSA because I want to share them, because when I, of course, introduce corporate partners into the state, there's some help that can be done there, right? Whether they're sponsoring for you guys or paying for events like this to happen or whatever the situation is. And I know what happens when I start to bring up SkillsUSA and the experiences, and when I start talking about you guys, really. Take SkillsUSA and look at the different pieces of it that you relate to. And every single person here is going to relate to SkillsUSA just a little differently. But if you can find one piece that represents you and start including that in who you are in your conversations or how you help others. Anyone in here know like the SkillsUSA pledge or the credo or like the emblem or those things? What a better way to start personal branding yourself with this organization than teaching that to other students and sharing that. Because I can tell you those concepts have never left me. And although I am not the traditional American worker like my parents were, I might be again one day, who knows what will happen, but I can tell you that integrating SkillsUSA and having that experience set me up to be entrepreneurial and to be able to follow through on that. Can anyone relate to being an entrepreneur in here? If you can, or if this word is a very big buzzword right now, one, I would love to chat with all of you, but if you do want to talk about what that path looks like and what it might look like for you, or if you have a skill or a talent, you just got to figure out how to make money off it. Let's chat while I'm here, either today, tomorrow, or Friday, because I would love to help you, and I would love to just be a pillar for you, something to lean on as you're navigating all that, because I did not have that. I had an advisor. Raise your hand if you have an advisor here. Let's actually give it up for our advisors right now real quick. So, if you're in this organization and you have an advisor, I can tell you that you have enough, all right? It's just a matter of everyone wants to think through what I can get from something. We have to flip that if we want to get more. We have to change that to what can I give? So what I started doing when I started thinking through that equation is I started hanging out with my advisor a heck of a lot more. One, because we ate a lot. He had the hook up with the cafeteria, so, senior year, grab the food that was left over. We'd just grub out, we'd print shirts, we'd do those things. Any t-shirt design and print? Students in here? Awesome, that was my thing. I did that, and I did graphic design, t-shirt design, and print. And I did TV productions. Any TV students in here? Awesome. So, everyone inside of here is learning a trade. Go ahead and yell your trades out. A couple of them that come to mind. A whole bunch of them, right? I heard photo, I heard graphics. Any culinary students? I don't think I heard any culinary in there. Awesome. hands up after I'm vegan and want to make vegan food. We can do this. Whatever the case, inside of your class, you are going to learn how to cook. You're going to learn how to do hair if it's Cosmo. You're going to learn logo design if it's graphics. If you're with me right now, say I am. We're going to learn whatever that skill is in our classroom. Have no doubt in that. Any automotive students, you're going to learn how to work on an engine, right? If you're whatever the trade is, you're going to learn what that thing is. So accept that right now. Awesome. You have a skill you can enter the workforce with. I did not go into a job that involved graphic design or filming and producing. We sold those things at Apple, and we made those things that help those creatives, those professionals at Apple. But my skill in SkillsUSA was not sales. My skills in SkillsUSA was not networking and meeting people. My skill was t-shirt design and print and TV productions. But here's what I can say. I paid just enough attention to the leadership side by showing up here and by listening to who and where I can provide my unique value. So, for all of you who are in here right now, this camp, in my opinion, is probably not only the coolest event you can go to as a SkillsUSA student, but it's one of the most important. Because there is magic that happens in getting pulled out of your environment and into another one for more than just a few hours. Raise your hand if you went to Fall Leadership Conference. Let me hear if you had a good time. So, that conference is awesome, but it's a day, right? So you come in, it's basically the school day, and you're there till 4 or 5 o'clock, and you get to meet other people, and you get to go to lunch in downtown Phoenix, and it's a grand old time. It's great. But to be pulled out of your environment for longer than a day, like this camp provides, is, for a lot of you, mark my words, will be a moment you look back on in your life as a turning point for you. Right now, you haven't shaken off the classroom stuff. You haven't shaken off what's going on at home with mom and dad. You haven't shaken off the things your friends are telling you, the hole they're trying to put you in. You haven't heard other teachers and their perceptions of you. They might not all be positive. They weren't for me necessarily my entire high school career. All of those things are still in your reality. But by tomorrow night and Friday, when you go to leave, you're going to feel like a completely different person. Because the things that are in your day-to-day life right now are not callousing you. They're not telling you who you are, what to be, what to do, or any of those things. Right? You have the trust to be here and to show up at these opportunities on time. And there's a lot of students back at school who do not get this opportunity. Raise your hand if someone comes to mind who's back at school that should be. Raise your hand real quick if you didn't know you were coming until like today or yesterday. For those, keep your hands up real quick. I honestly think that people with your hands that we just found out, you will get more out of camp than the students who knew 3 months ago they were going to be here. Because you see it as an opportunity. If you knew even months ago that you were going to be here, you still have that chance to really take advantage of this, to meet the people next to you, to not just stick necessarily with the people from your school, but to go out of your way and to talk with your bunkmates and talk with the other students inside of there. Because what you're doing right now is you are building your personal brand with everything that you do. Being aside from your school right now and being able to be in this environment, like I said, is a huge opportunity. There are 5 things you can do to transform yourself, and one of them is just taking yourself out of the environment that you are in right now. If you're ever feeling down or depressed, not good enough, just move yourself out of it. Literally move your body somewhere else, and you will start to feel that dissipate. So you got to combine storytelling with your personal brand, and you got to find a way to do it uniquely. And from what I know with SkillsUSA, you guys are extremely unique. You guys are different than any of the other organizations. You guys act differently, you guys perform differently, and in my opinion, you guys go into the workforce differently, or go into change the world differently than any others. Like I said, you're going to get the skill. Take it. I say all of that to say this. Take advantage of being out of school for a few days in a different environment. To take advantage of the fact that no one else from other schools here has a perception of you. No one else here knows who you are, how bad you smell. No one knows the girl who doesn't like you back at school. Everyone here is just seeing you for who you are and nothing else. And there's a lot of magic in that. So take advantage of that to build those relationships and build those connections, which takes us, if you're counting, to our 3rd point, which is about networking. I got to be in the classroom. I got to go to the state level, be a state officer, and I also got to be a national officer, and I'm blessed and had the privilege to have been able to work for SkillsUSA Arizona after I was a student. So I've gotten this whole experience inside of there, right? But there is not a single moment in SkillsUSA besides me showing up for food at lunch my freshman year that was a turning point in my life. And here's why I say that, and here's what I've learned in this process. A lot of us want the magic pill. We want the answer to what our problems are. We want to know how to get from A to B to Z. We want to hear it before we do any of it. Because on the internet, we can look up answers and just have them fed to us, right? We don't have to experience things. But that experience is where the journey is. It's the people that you come along, not the things, the material objects or the material experiences. Like I said, the only turning point for me was showing up for food. But it's not what happened to me, and it's not what's going to happen to any one of you inside of here. Here's what it really is. It's who happened to you. I said a second ago that I had an advisor, that was kind of enough. Because of my relationship with my advisor, and because me just being willing to be around more often and to learn, I was able to not only have an awesome SkillsUSA experience, I was able to develop professionally and spiritually in that process. And money can't buy that. It's not what happens to you, it's who happens to you. It's not what, it's who. So, for a lot of you inside of here, you are either, raise your hand if you're sitting next to someone from your school. There were times for me and for others coming to this camp, I came 3 times as a student here, that there were kids on that bus that I wasn't a fan of. And there were kids on that bus, students on the bus that weren't a fan of me. And I'm not going to have you raise your hand and call other people out or call your school out or anything like that. I don't think that's professional or fun. But here's what I will say. And mark my words, if you feel right now that you're the one who maybe isn't the favorite, or if you feel like there's someone in there that is not the favorite, that bus ride home is going to be a completely different one than the ride in. Mark my words. Because sometimes it's the students from your school who you end up bonding with through this, and other times it's people who you don't go back to the same school with. Because it's not what happens to you, it's who. You are sitting next to people right now who have it better than you, who have it worse than you. You're sitting next to potential politicians. You're sitting next to the business owners and the future leaders of America. Look to the person left of you and look to the right. And now think that. You're sitting next to the future leader of this country and of this world. Let me ask you this. If you knew that you were sitting next to a celebrity or a future leader or president of the world right now, would you treat that person differently? I probably would. Hey guys, real quick, if you're with me right now, say I am. The person sitting next to you at some point in time will have an opportunity that can change your life. It could be tomorrow or it could be 50 years from now. Treat each other like you guys already have those opportunities. And when you do that, those opportunities and those experiences will come a lot faster. Trust me. The bus ride that you guys have home is going to be completely different. Maybe you're the one on the bus who didn't know anybody else, and you just found out yesterday you were coming and your advisor threw you in. You might be the student who just got into career and technical education. And so all of this stuff, you might not even know it's trade yet. That's probably the truth for a few of you in here. But the fact of the matter is, because you're in this experience, and you're outside of your school with a couple friends, people who you don't know yet who are going to become your friends, this is a way for you to have that who moment. It's not what happens to you, it's who happens to you. A few of you in here, you're going to be the who for somebody else. Who? You will be the person that ends up changing the world for other people. There are students inside of here who will own and employ other humans. And I say humans because we're employing robots already and computers. You might be that person who works for a Fortune 500 company is able to bring on other students. And what better a place than a place where you learned at a very young age importance of professionalism, of integrity, and of confidence, and patriotism, right? So, it's not what happens to you, it's who. A lot of you right now are experiencing situations that I can never think about that are bad in perception. It's not what happens to you, it's who. And if that is you inside of here and you feel that things are not so good right now, it's okay. Start talking to the other people around you. Start talking to advisors. And I'm going to end with this. Again, it isn't what happens to you, it's who. And I'm going to give you a key All right, the magical key to unlock all of this and to unlock the people next to you, to unlock your advisors, to unlock future employers. Who would like to unlock a bunch of money? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm about to hand you that key right now. And it's a very, very simple mindset, and it's a very, very simple question. And that question is, what can I do for you? I know selfishly that I could use a lot of help in my life or in my business or with certain tasks. You guys might know the person that I need to connect with. I don't know that yet, though. Could be. And when you have that question in your head and you're the first person to the door with it, how can I help you? Oftentimes what you're going to find as you start doing that throughout this camp, sometimes the other person doesn't know how you're going to ask that, and the other person's like, I don't know how you can help me. But you're going to start talking. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to connect you with this person back at school because I really think you guys would get along. Or let's go ahead and connect on social media, let's say friends, let's exchange emails, whatever the case is. Eventually, what is the other person going to ask you? How can they help you? We talked earlier about the person in power is the one asking the questions. And so when you're getting interviewed, it's usually the employer. And you can not take back that control, but you can be in control by asking those questions. And one of the biggest things that you can do for an employer if you want to get the job is just start working for them. Ask what you can do for them, and when someone has an answer, even if it's not something you think you can help with, just try to actually do that. Resources are the keys to everything that we need, right? Whether it's a skill, whether it's meeting a person, or it's money. And the faster that we can be of service to each other and to the world, the faster we have the answers and the resources that we're needing to move along in our careers, in our life, and to advance humanity. We are going down a road that has never been gone down before. And the majority of you will work in a field one day that has to interact with, program, or create artificial intelligence. And we do not know what that is going to look like. This is uncharted territory for us as a world. I grew up thinking adults had it under control. Boy, was I wrong. Everyone's just taking their best guess and living through their own experiences with what they know. You have to commend people for that. We do not know where we're headed or where this economy will head or how fast. It can happen in 36 months or it can happen in 10 years. If you want to be ready for it, say, I do. I do. The way you do that above anything else is being of service and asking every person you come across. It's going to feel weird at first until you see the results from it. How can I help you? When you ask this, you are going to have transformational experiences and relationships happen. When that moment happens, here's what I ask. Take a picture with that person or of the moment, tag Arizona Skills USA, tag @WhatUpJeremy. I'm going to be giving away scholarships, resources, and free coaching calls to students who take heed to this advice and start asking others, how can I help you? I'm Jeremy Montoya. Thank you guys so much for being here.